every language ever.
Assembly, a low-level programming language allowing humans.
Wow, we went. This thing does not. This is dead serious. Okay, 15 minutes every single language. Every single language ever. I cannot wait to hear about everybody's favorite language, Synergy. Okay? We got to start with assembly. It makes sense.
Humans to give instructions to the computer's hardware. You see, computers can only do things in terms of 0 or 1. So assembly was created in order to make computer instructions more workable for human beings. This works by using an assembler that translates the human readable code into ones and zeros. Assembly is one of the world's first
almost a Kinesis keyboard. It's almost a Kinesis keyboard back in the 60s. This thing time traveled. This thing has time traveled. Look at this. Look at this guy. This guy was raw dogging zeros and ones into a computer long before you did anything, okay? You and your JavaScript. Okay? This is what a senior dev looks like. This is what Jack Black in an alternative universe looks like.
Programming languages. It used to be the standard to run supercomputers back in the day, but you still find it used currently to work with CPU memory, and it's used sometimes in browsers via WebAssembly. Fortran, one of the...
Huh? WebAssembly and assembly are different. Just saying, they're different.
The world's first high-level languages. The difference between a high-level language and a low-level language is...
Was Fortran the world's first high-level language? I thought Algol. When did Algol? I thought Algol 69. Okay, and Fortran. Oh shit! What about the Z1 language? That was like 1930, 1940. Yeah. I thought the Z1 was considered like one of the most modern computers with Boolean logic and stuff like that. I thought that was like one of I thought that was like the firstest. But okay, Fortran did. Aren't you tired of being wrong? No, I never am tired of being wrong. Never be tired of being wrong. Okay, I'm a programmer. If you're not ready to argue uselessly for hours over things that don't even matter, then you're not ready to be a programmer.
You can manipulate the computer's memory much more directly. It also executes much faster than a high-level language. The drawback is that it's much harder to learn. A high-level language is much easier to understand, and there's a lot of support.
I haven't used much Fortran to know how hard it is.
Fortran was created by IBM in the 1950s. The name stands for a formula translator. Programming in Fortran would be done by using a punch card, then would be fed into a card reader, and would be translated into code that the computer can understand. This translating process is called compiling, which basically changes the code that humans can read.
I can't tell you how many stories I heard in college from my professors about punch cards, and they said the worst of all of the things that happen with punch cards is when you're walking to the machine, and one of them told me a story about how they tripped, and it was like 25, 50 punch cards, some large amount, tripped, and just threw out all the punch cards. Just let them fly. Had to redo your entire program from scratch because you tripped. Just imagine that for a second. Quick sort this, you filthy casual. I know. Hand number every card, skill issue. You did have to that was kind of the lesson is you hand number the cards. Imagine not numbering them. I know. Well, you did. Imagine numbering something. Imagine living that life. Where did quicksort come from? Let's see. Is that where quicksort came from? That is where quicksort came from. A dude that made quicksort and then was like, wow, I think I figured out a fast way to do sorting. Showed his boss, and his boss is like, you just invented the fastest sort ever. And it was the fastest sort ever.
Into the ones and zeros computers can understand.
You just
Comtran,
made
also known as commercial translator, is another programming language.
What the hell did I just hear? We're getting on the cum train? Damn. I did not know that cum train was one.
Understand. Comtran, also known as...
Well, anyways, we're on to the cum train. Let's go.
Commercial translator is another programming language developed by IBM. It served as the business equivalent to...
Is cum train, is this like the precursor to COBOL? Is this precursor? Is this Coomer language?
Fortran, in which Fortran was used for scientific computing. It was influenced by another programming language called Flowmatic, a programming language for data processing that ran on this giant supercomputer called the UNIVAC 1. Lisp, also known as list processing, was created soon after Fortran. It's known for using a lot of parentheses in its code. It was an innovative...
Fair. That is probably the most fair statement ever for Lisp is what is Lisp known for? A lot of parentheses. I think today it would probably say that Lisp is best known for the fact that it runs the world's greatest operating system, Emacs, but it's also fair to say it's just a lot of parentheses.
Language, which inspired these concepts in programming. COBOL, standing for Common Business. It was an innovative language which inspired
Tree data structures, recursion. I feel like recursion had to be, really, you're telling me tree data structures weren't invented until Lisp or recursion or higher order functions or dynamic typing or conditionals or self-hosting compiler? Is that all true? Sus? Yes? What? What? Nope. F-boys? Yes? What? Okay, no one knows.
These concepts in programming. COBOL, standing for Common Business Oriented Language, was a programming language developed in 1959 for, you guessed it, businesses. Even though it was made so long ago, it is still used today by many financial institutions to process transactions. The code.
By the way, it is wild that our financial system runs on this language. Like, we all just need to take a second and recognize the fact that our entire financial stability is ran on COBOL. It's utterly wild. It must be the most secure language ever. It's because you have to write English. You can't hack English. It's too hard. Nobody can hack English, okay? Ain't nobody got time to hack English. It's too hard to do.
Looks like plain English sentences, but this would later be translated onto a punch card. One of the first adopters of the language was the U.S. Department of Defense, IBM RPG, IBM Report Program.
You know, for all fairness, okay, the American government is quick to innovate and then stops all forms of innovation and forever are frozen at a specific time. I don't know what it is. Like the SEC, part of its XBRL experience for after the after the financial collapse and Enron screwing all the peoples, XBRL was developed. I forget exactly what it stands for, but it was HTML 3.2, bleeding edge at that point. And then they just never updated it ever again. And now there's like this entire arcane separate language called XBRL to file your 10.9 or your 10Ks and your 10Qs and all that crap for the financial system to prevent Enron from ever happening again. I don't know. It just exists.
Program Generator is a programming language created by IBM, meant to run on IBM systems. It's one of the only programming language to make use of rows and columns for its code. Algol 60, short for Algorithmic Language 1960, is not a very well-known programming language, but is one of the languages that inspired one of the most well-known programming languages in the world, C. It was also one of the first programming languages to use nested functions. APL, standing for
Nested Functions. What a good time. It's such a good time until it's not a good time, but it's a good time. I just made one this morning, and I feel pretty proud of it. Let's go. APL, a programming language. You know, if anyone ever tells you naming is not hard, just remember that you had somebody who just finally gave up and was like, it's just a programming language, okay? That's it.
A programming language, first appeared in the 1960s, is a programming language developed for mathematical equations, mostly algebra. It uses a lot of math and Greek symbols directly in the code.
I can't type
a programming language made.
I can't use the language that requires symbols, okay? You imagine having to use that. Imagine actually having to use that. Like, I mean, I know I complain a lot about JavaScript. I love it. But like, just a skill issue? You're a skill issue!
Many decades ago, that was one of the world's first object-oriented language. Object-oriented programming is a way for programmers to use blocks of code that are...
Is that jQuery? Are we looking at jQuery right now? Oh gosh, we are looking at so many jQueries right now. We are so jQueried out. Why would you do a dot count each and not pass in the element? Oh yeah, that's because this is the element. I forgot, jQuery. Where's the indenting? You son of a bitch, jQuery. Where's your indenting? The indenting is just making me so angry right now. I couldn't even read the code. What is jQuery? You wouldn't understand, okay? You're probably a React Andy. You don't get it. You don't know it. If you don't know jQuery, you don't know shit.
Usable and can interact with each other instead of pure functions and logic. In object-oriented programming, you use blocks of code called objects.
By the way, using jQuery as an example for object-oriented code that was kind of wild. I would have tossed out like Simula as the example because that's the language we're currently covering, or like Java 1.6. Okay, jQuery is not a great example. It's just not a great example of object-oriented code. It's just
Objects are created by things called classes, which contain properties and can use methods. To explain it simply, you can create a class called Pokemon, name the object Charmander, give it properties such as Fire type, and allow it to execute methods such as Flamethrower and Scratch. Speaking.
I'm super confused. I thought Pokimane was a popular female streamer. Is she a furry now? Is that what happened? Can my broke boys tell me? Broke boys, can you tell me about how good are the cookies? Tell me real talk. Who here bought the cookies? I bet you one of you sons of bitches bought a cookie. Press 1 in the chat if you actually bought a cookie. Come on. Let it out. Just it's okay. No one's gonna feel bad. No one's gonna feel bad if you bought a cookie. Let's go. Let's go. We see some ones coming in. Let's go. You know what? I'm not offended at all, by the way. For anyone that bought one of her cookies, let's go. Let's go. You guys aren't broke boys, but I did notice something that kind of hurt my feelings. All the people who pressed 1, which was about 7, none of you guys are subscribers to me. I know you're not broke boys, okay? $5 a month. You tell me you have countless hours of time.
Easy, a programming language that was mainly used by physicists in the 60s.
Not
It's
sure how
known
we
for
got
using
there.
a colon_ in its code. Basic, the beginner's all-purpose
That seems like a strange thing to be known for. Speakeasy? What? Oh, by the way, basic. Let's go,
symbolic
basic.
instruction code was created at Dartmouth in 1963. It was created with the
Let's
purpose
go.
of getting the average layperson to be able to learn how to code. You see, before that time, programming had only been the domain of scientists and mathematicians.
Okay, first off, this entire math scene is not making any sense. Okay, what are all these people doing on a whiteboard? Okay, this doesn't make any sense. There's a person right here, which you can barely see. There's a person in the background. There's this guy, and this person is holding a pencil. Like this scene doesn't make any sense. Who brings a pencil to a chalkboard? Nobody brings a pencil to a chalkboard.
At that time, programming had only been the domain of scientists and mathematicians. This was because of its easy-to-understand syntax. Syntax is basically the rules to writing in a programming language. Mumps, aka the Massachusetts General
Mumps, also known for how fun it is, much like the disease.
Hospital Utility Multi-Programming System, or sometimes just M for short, was created to manage hospital laboratory information systems.
That's right, I've heard about this. Mumps, I've heard about this. I forgot who just told me this. I want to say it was TJ. But yes, mumps. The classic language for hospitals.
It was also used to manage electronic health records. Its code tends to be very terse, which means you can take most of its word commands and abbreviate them into simple short letters, logo, and
You know what I
which means you can take most of its word commands and abbreviate.
I don't want to have to be typing all that shit in my life, okay? I just want to be able to just get things done. Dear goodness. NSNTIKQSI. Quit, set, if, kill. Quit, set, if. String K. That's crazy. Hey, thank you, Mario. I appreciate that. You're going in a YouTube video. Thank you, Mario. I appreciate the 10 gifted subs.
Them into simple short letters, logo, an educational programming language made in
Turtles?
the 60s, which makes use of what is known as a turtle graphic. Not an actual turtle.
We read about
it's the
these
name
guys.
of the cursor used to draw geometric shapes as determined by the code. Pascal, a programming
Turtles.
language that was very popular
Let's go,
in the
Pascal.
70s. Even being the
Pascal.
default language
Pascal.
for many computers back in the day, it was one of the first programming languages to be used by an IDE, which is an integrated development environment. Basically a dedicated program to write its code. One of the most well-known
Nice.
programs created with Pascal was Photoshop. C, a program
Really? Photoshop? Wow. Okay. Hey. Whoa. Hey. I mean, that's pretty impressive, actually. I didn't know that. Okay. The more you know, people. The more you know. Wow. Okay. Okay. C.
language
Let's go.
created in the 70s
C is the greatest language of all time. Obviously, the foundation of computer science.
that is one of the most popular programming languages of all time. Created
Yep.
at Bell Labs, it is the basis
Why is Bell Labs where all the good things came out of? Notice that IBM created all those stupid languages like RPG. RPG. Nobody's ever even heard of it. And then Bell Labs they came up with the Octothorpe. Okay, that's pretty useful. They came up with C. They have a lot of things.
of many operating systems, such as Windows and Linux. It also inspired many programming languages that came after it, such as C++, C#, Objective-C, Go, Java,
Yeah!
JavaScript, PHP, Python, and
Oh,
many more.
yeah.
It's known for its low-level access to the computer's memory by using code called pointers. Computer memory was much more of a finite resource in the past, so programmers had to be much more
This is
careful
true.
about how they allocated it. Otherwise, it'll cause problems such as memory leaks, which is basically when
This is a fact of life. Somehow we still memory leak in JavaScript, but that's not the point. Okay, the point is that you could also memory leak in not JavaScript. It's just, it's just a thing. It's just a thing that would happen. If you don't get it, you don't get it. I get it. It's confusing. Okay. The days of limited RAM, I don't miss them. But at the same time, you really had to think about things. You know what I mean? I wonder if we had less of a RAM appetite, would we have better software? I don't know if that's true. You know what I mean? I think some people I think people like to imagine that it's true, but I'm not sure if it's actually true. Like, take the Nintendo 64. Not a lot of memory, right? Not a ton. And Turok Rage Wars, Turok, by the way, you could only get 49 out of 50 medals because there's just a bug and they ship the game anyways, and I'm still hurt by it. Nintendo. Right? I'm still hurt by it. There's plenty of shitty software that existed in the 90s, so I'm not sure if somehow that's a real problem.
programs use up too much memory in your computer, causing the computer to become painfully slow. Smalltalk, a programming language in the 70s that was known for its object-oriented programming. It inspired many object-oriented programming languages that came after it.
Such as Java.
Prolog, known as the first logic programming language. It is known for being modeled after formal logic in philosophy. ML, also known as meta-language, pioneered statically typed functional programming, which basically means giving information certain types, such as strings, integers, floats, or booleans. Strings are just words and letters. Integers are whole numbers. Floats are real.
Look at me shake my head. Okay, Haskell mentioned. I understand that Haskell's granddaddy is over here. I don't want to hear about the ML languages, okay? Get him out of here. Shake it up. We're shaking it up. Don't worry. Can we get back to C#, please?
Boolean is something that can be either true or false. SQL, also known as
if he does not say squeal here, I'm not going to be very happy.
Structured query language, also even called SQL, is a language used for creating and managing databases. You store information in things called tables and structure them with rows and columns. The code also looks like plain English sentences. It is used by many systems even today to store their data, such as usernames and passwords, transactions, accounts.
By the way, notice that he didn't even mention CSS, the alternative to SQL. Like, what are we supposed to do without CSS?
Account information, and more. Basically, think of it as a system of Excel spreadsheets. C++, an extension of the C programming language. The major difference is C++ has object-oriented programming, unlike the original C, which didn't. It's also known for its steep learning curve. C++ is one of the most important programming languages of all time, even still in wide use today, still being the
was that the Toby index?
Of all time, even still in.
I'm pretty sure we talked about this. This is the Toby index. Don't listen to them. But C++ should be pretty high up. C++ is used everywhere. I mean, C++ is extremely important language, and whether you hate it or love it, it's still very, very popular. Toby did get this one right, okay? Toby's a piece of shit, but Toby got this right.
Wide use today, still being the main programming language in creating operating systems, web browsers, databases, and games. Ada, a programming language made in the 1980s that is mainly used
named after Ada Lovelace. You know, I always feel bad about Charles Babbage. Cause like, yo, dog, he also he like made the analytical machine, but ain't nobody giving him any credit, right? They're always just like, oh, Ada Lovelace, and you're just like, yo, that's half the team, dog. Why you gotta always shit on Babbage? Where's the love for Babbage, but there's no love for Ada, or there's all the love for Ada, but no love for Babbage? It ain't fair. It ain't fair.
By the U.S. Department of Defense. It is named after the credited world's first programmer, Ada Lovelace. MATLAB. MATLAB, or Matrix Library, is a mathematics programming.
Ain't no Babbage there. I mean, Babbage is like Intel, makes a sweet piece of machinery here. Ada does a little bit of programming on it, and they're just like, man, Ada's so cool. You're just like, yo, dog, maybe they're both pretty awesome. Have you ever thought about that?
Language
Still,
used
I'm
by
still
data
upset about it.
scientists
Sorry.
and engineers.
I'm
It's a
upset about it.
mathematics-based programming language that can be used for statistics, robotics, and artificial
Nobody cares
intelligence.
about
It's
MATLAB.
still widely used today, mainly by
MATLAB's a
academia.
piece of shit.
Objective-C, a programming
I hate Objective-C. I wrote Falcor in Objective-C. It took me like 4 weeks. I had to write it multi-threaded. It was the worst experience I've ever had. The end.
language inspired by C that was created in the 1980s, which became the main language for Apple computers, even being the main language for the early iPhones, although its popularity has fallen over the years, mainly due to Apple replacing it by a newer programming language called Swift in the mid-2010s.
Let's go.
LabVIEW,
Swift.
made by National Instruments in the 1980s. It is a
I haven't
programming
heard
language
this.
that doesn't really use traditional code. Instead, it's a graphical programming language where you build user interfaces
Ah, Scratch 1.0. Okay. Okay. We've seen Scratch. We've
and
seen
handle
Scratch.
code using images. Erlang, a programming language
Okay, Ryan Winchester, if you're in here, please. You're allowed to now spam Ryan Winchester. You're now allowed to do Erlang mentioned. Let's go. Beam. Got the beams.
designed for the telecom
Erlang,
industry.
Erlang,
Perl,
Erlang.
a language that was designed to work very well with text. It's used for system administration, network programming,
Is that a picture of
finance,
OCaml?
and more. Perl has been known
Oh,
as
Perl.
the duct tape that holds the internet together. If you've ever seen the code, it actually looks pretty wacky. Wolfram, created by Stephen Wolfram, it's a language that can perform data visualization, image processing, mathematics, and pretty much anything you can think of. It can even tell you the shortest route around Europe. Haskell, it's a functional
It did a Euclidean circuit or whatever it's called. Is it a Euclidean circuit? What's the name of the one where you start and end at the same place to go visit everything with the shortest path? Okay, guys. A Euler circuit. There you go. Euler circuit. Or Euler circuit. That's an NP-complete problem. An Eulerian cycle? Hamiltonian cycle? Euler? Euler? Euler, is he rich? That's how you pronounced Euler, is Euler. Euler. Is it a Hamiltonian path? I always forget which one it is. Anyways, let's keep on going.
language,
Haskell
with
mentioned.
its
Let's go.
unique feature
Haskell.
of its variables being immutable, which means you can't change them. The language is based on lambda calculus. Visual
There we go. That's about all you need to know about Haskell. Okay, that's called it's abstract. If you want to find any applications of Haskell, you're going to have to go look in a white paper database.
Basic, a programming language developed by Microsoft in the early 90s. It's used to create Microsoft programs and applications by using GUIs or graphical user interfaces. Basically, anything you can interact with your mouse on the screen is part of the graphical user interface.
Are you showing us an Apple? This is like old Apple right here. This is Macintosh. Yeah, Visual Basic is a curse and a plague upon the earth.
It also has a very popular IDE of the same name, Lua, a language known
Let's go, Lua.
for its speed and being able to be embedded into other programs. It's also known for being very easy to learn. Delphi.
Literally missed the most important part of Lua. Brazil mentioned. Let's go. Let's go, Brazil. Let's go, Brazil. Let's go, Brazil. Right? Like, dude, didn't even mention the fact that it's Brazilian. Stands for moon. Did you know it's moon? Lua.
Nothing much to say about it. It's basically Pascal, but with object-oriented programming. It even comes with its own code editor, OCaml.
Ah.
OCaml is a functional-based programming language like Haskell and Erlang. Functional programming languages
Let's
are
go.
good at doing math,
Let's go.
and object-oriented programming languages are good for building enterprise-level software. Python is a general
Oh, damn. Did he just do what I think he just did? Did he just do what I think he just did? Chat's malding. Chat. I've never seen chat mauled this hard in my entire lifetime. What have you done? You cannot possibly say that. You're not wrong, but you can't say that out loud. People can get so upset.
purpose programming language, and you can use it to make pretty much anything. From desktop applications to websites, creating bots or API, handling servers and databases, game development, image processing, statistics, and so much more that it would need its own
That's Python for you. Python. It does it. It does it. Except for for loops. Don't do for loops. Okay. We use NumPy for for loops. Okay.
video. Python is currently one of the most popular programming languages for creating AI. It's also one of the most popular programming languages in general. In fact, most beginner programmers start with Python as their first programming
Fair.
language, not only for its vast utility, but also
Fair.
how easy it is to learn. One of its only
Fair.
drawbacks
I think that's probably changing a lot today. I bet you the next generation of programmers, those that are somewhere between 9 to 13, their two languages are going to be Scratch and Lua. They're going to be making so many Roblox games. Like, the reality is I think Lua is going to be one of the largest initial programming languages out there. Scratch is a great first language for kids, right? They get to understand kind of like the basic concepts, set up loops and all that. And then it goes from there. Waiting for Rust to be mentioned. Rust
Fact
will
is
be
that
mentioned.
it tends to be pretty slow compared to other programming languages, like C++, Ruby. Ruby is a language very similar to Python. Even the code looks similar.
I think we renamed Ruby to DHH lang, didn't we?
Ruby is easy to learn, and the code is also very readable. One of the most popular uses of Ruby is to combine it with a framework called On Rails to create websites, adopting the full name Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is currently the backbones to many websites we know currently, such as Hulu, Airbnb, Coinbase.
He really came in hard with that Hulu. Hulu! I didn't realize Kickstarter, Heroku. GitHub, yeah, Airbnb, Coinbase, damn. Don't even, oh, hey, okay, good. DHH mentioned. Okay, just making sure. Just making sure we mentioned DHH here.
Shopify, Twitch, SoundCloud, and many more. A lot of its popularity
can't be
was its
true
ability
anymore. I
to be
thought
able
that
to
was not
create
true
full-stack websites. Full-stack is the combination of the front end and the back-end development of a website. A website's front end is basically everything you can see with your eyes. Basically, the entire interface, the text, the images, the buttons, and the videos are all part of the front end. The back end is the non-visual part of the website, which is mainly the servers and databases. Account information, authentication, and data storage is what's part of the back end. Java. Remember the thing some programs
Flip zoom in!
asked you to install on your computer? Yeah, that's an actual programming language. It gained popularity immediately after it's released, and it's still popular today. A big advantage that
people forget, and if for those that are frequent my channel don't forget, but a lot of people do forget that Java and JavaScript made a co-announcement. Do you guys remember that? The release of Java and the release of Java's web whatever and the release of JavaScript all together?
that Java has is that it allows you to create programs that are very platform independent. That's because Java can be compiled into bytecode which can be understood by many operating systems. All your computer would
write once, debug everywhere,
need
right?
is a Java
Am I right,
environment
boys?
to do this, which is what you're installing every time your computer asks you to install Java. Java can be used to create many things, like video games such as Minecraft or mobile apps on Android. A meme amongst beginner programmers is that Java's code tends to be pretty verbose. R, a programming language.
I don't think that's a meme. I think that's just reality. Isn't that just, I mean, that's just fact of life. No one's alleging that Java's verbose. It is verbose. There's no alleging. There's no allegedly so here. Okay, this is not a memory, or this is memory. This is not a courtroom. Okay.
Language in which its
all right, let's go.
main purpose is statistics. It's a widely popular programming language used to organize data and data visualization. It's very useful for researchers conducting epidemiological
Widely is a unique term. I do not believe it's widely.
studies. If you're a researcher studying in fields such as economics, psychology, biology, medicine, etc., learning how to code in either Python or R is a very useful skill. JavaScript.
I agree, yeah.
JavaScript
I love it.
is not the same as Java. In fact, it has
Yeah, it is. They both have null. The same thing.
nothing to do with Java. JavaScript is a
That's actually not true. The null was included in JavaScript specifically to interrupt with Java. In fact, JavaScript had requirements due to. I'm just saying. It's to say it's not. They're nothing alike is a little bit of a lie. Okay, it's a little bit of a lie. Just saying.
programming language that is mainly only used in web browsers. In fact, 98% of the
Can I rewind that for a quick second?
Java. In fact, it has nothing to do with Java. JavaScript is a programming language that is mainly only used in web browsers.
Someone's going to be upset when they hear about Node.
In fact, 98% of the internet uses JavaScript. JavaScript is responsible for the main functional aspect of the website. It's based on the ECMAScript standard and is often used in conjunction with HTML.
Remember when Microsoft held down the ECMAScript standard for like a decade because they wanted a competitive advantage? Remember Microsoft, how they've done shady business dealings with everything they've ever touched ever, and now you guys just let them run for free on your system in a program called VS Code.
HTML and CSS. But sometimes you can create websites with just pure JavaScript using frameworks such as React. And with React Mobile, you can create mobile apps. HTML and CSS.
True.
HTML and CSS are both scripting languages to create websites. HTML.
He did it again. HTML is a programming language, okay? It has always been a programming language, and if you guys aren't willing to accept that, I think you're just I think you're ignorant. Okay, it's 2024. It's time to That's a tweet. That is such a tweet. It's such a tweet. It's such a tweet. It's 2024. It's time. It's time you accept HTML as a programming language. Boom. And tweet that one. All right. Let's go back to this video. All right. We're back in.
HTML deals with the pure content and structure of the website. It uses code called HTML tags in order to build the content on the web page. CSS is used for the design or aesthetic look of the website.
Do you love how we used unordered lists to put in ordered items? Isn't that just like the greatest thing ever with HTML? That just unordered lists are the list of ordered items. It just makes me so happy.
It deals with the arrangement of content, colors, borders, gradients, opacity, and can even perform animations.
Really makes me happy. Okay.
PHP, aka person.
No. No one uses ordered list. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, no one uses an OL. We all use ULs.
Homepage, but sometimes also
it is ordered unordered lists, everybody.
Also called hypertext preprocessor, is a programming language mainly used on web servers. You can actually embed PHP directly into HTML.
Let's go PHP.
PHP, although waning in popularity, is still the backbone of many major websites today.
PHP is a great language. And as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to mention again, okay? Okay? I'm going to mention this again. You know why? Because we are. Yeah. I'm giving a 15-minute talk at apparently my computer is just not loading things anymore. Laracon, 15 minutes. This guy right here. Okay? We're definitely going to have to do an intro video where they're going to drive me in. They're going to drive me in a Lambo. Me and Taylor, me and Tay-Tay swiftly will drive in. Very excited about the whole situation.
It was the language Mark Zuckerberg first built Facebook in. ActionScript, a language based on JavaScript.
Who didn't do a little bit of ActionScript? There was a thing for a while called Ratatouille, I believe was its name, or something along those lines, and it was the ability to run ActionScript in the browser by compiling it to JavaScript and having an entire ecosystem around it. This was like in 2011. I believe it died, but nonetheless, it was real.
In which its main purpose was its use in Flash. Have you ever played a Flash game back in the day? That was most likely made using ActionScript. It was first created by Macromedia, which released ActionScript 1 and version 2.0. But when Macromedia was later bought out by Adobe, Adobe released ActionScript 3.0. Even though as of 2020, Adobe Flash has died out, you can still use ActionScript with Adobe Animate. C#, a program
everybody loves. Like, I've never met somebody that hated ActionScript. It seems like ActionScript was actually really good. Was really good language. I kind of feel sad that I didn't know about ActionScript. Yeah, I'm pausing it. I'm pausing it on C Sharp, just because I know it's obviously the greatest language in this list.
Language made in the early 2000s by Microsoft. It was influenced by C++ and Java. C Sharp's most common uses are being used in web servers with the .NET framework and video games.
Let's go. Mentioned IIS mentioned. Wait. Yeah, IIS. Let's go. Let's go, the greatest web server of all time, known for its ease of use and its friendly developer outlook.
Game development with the Unity engine. Scala. Scala was made as an alternative to Java.
That's the end of C#, everybody. Unity and IIS. Yeah, that seems about right. They didn't even mention XNA, its revolutionary counterpart for developing video games for the Xbox and Zune handheld, which came in everybody's favorite colors, such as brown.
Java. It also uses many of Java's same technologies, such as the Java virtual machine. But unlike Java, it has many features of functional programming. PowerShell, basically the Windows command line on steroids.
Also, people love PowerShell. Everyone says that PowerShell really is super awesome. Is that true? Production level, read the manual?
With its own scripting language, F#. F# is the sister language to C#, with the difference of it being able to support functional programming.
I thought F# was like OCaml. I thought F# was Microsoft OCaml. I thought F# was literally what Java is to C# as OCaml is to F#.
Julia, a programming language made in the early 2010s in order to perform high-level computations, data analysis and visualization.
Everyone seems to love
its main advantage
Julia,
is that it's much faster
anyone
than
that
other
does Julia loves
Julia.
Julia.
The code is a lot easier to read and it's much easier to learn. Elm, a programming language designed to create graphical user interfaces for websites. It can be compiled into...
I heard Elm is awesome, and I believe Charm uses an Elm-like pattern, right? To be able to do its interfacing. And I'm going to be doing some Charm here shortly on stream. I'm going to be doing a bunch of Charm on stream, and I know I'll be doing a lot of Elm-like patterns. Every time I've used it, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff. You hated Elm? Yeah, that's charming. Shut up. I'll be doing an SSH client for Vim APM.
JavaScript. Nim, a programming language with its
Nim mentioned. Nim. Dude, I swear, people that love Nim, absolute brain disorder. Absolutely. Very, like, love it. Just absolutely problems going on upstairs. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Simplicity of Python combined with the memory allocation of C++. Raku, nothing much to say.
A language for gremlins is what you should say, because that was one of its most famous articles. Raku, a language for gremlin. Raku, a language for gremlins, which you can like redefine anything. Literally, it's a language for gremlins. Okay, I'm not just making these things up. It's just this is life. This is the life you need to live. Is to learn.
It's basically Perl, but version 6, although it has a pretty wacky logo. Scratch, a programming language made in MIT that is completely visual and block-based. No, seriously, the code fits together like Lego blocks. It was made with the purpose for teaching children how to code. Despite its simplicity, you can make pretty complex things with it. Go, formerly known as Golang.
Let's go. C 2.0. C 2.0. Let's go. I like Go.
Was created at Google to be a modern version of C. The code can be similar to Python, but it's much faster.
Greatest part about Go, no colored functions. Let's go.
Due to its compiling method. It's mainly used in servers with framework.
Worst part about Go, it's not as complex as Rust. Best part about Go, it's not as complex as Rust. Think about it.
Like Docker. Holy C, a programming language created by Terry A. Davis in 2005. Made with assembly, it was used to create an operating system called Temple OS, an operating system inspired by a revelation from God. The main interest in this programming language is due to the backstory of the developer. Although being a talented programmer, suffered from and ultimately succumbed from his battle with schizophrenia. Kotlin, known as the
R.I.P. Terry. I'm glad that after that Sag moment talking about Terry, we are now going to go to the only programming language which also doubles as a D's nuts joke. R.I.P. Terry and Kotlin D's nuts. Let's go.
Easier form of Java is a language used to create mobile apps on Android OS. The most popular IDE to code Kotlin in is Android Studio. TypeScript, basically JavaScript, but with static typing. Dart, a programming language.
No, it's JavaScript with a linter.
Language created by Google that you can use to create web applications or mobile apps using the Flutter framework. Swift, developed
Flutter D's nuts also works really well.
By Apple to replace Objective-C. It is the standard programming language to create anything in iOS, and it comes with its own code editor called Xcode.
I wish Apple wasn't such a dick and would just make Swift usable on not stupid-ass Xcode. Like, I think Xcode should just be there and not so much of a requirement. I just want to, like, I would program a lot more Swift, I think, if it wasn't so geared towards working in this one walled garden. Swift looks like a cool language.
You can only code in Swift if you have an Apple computer or use a virtual machine. Rust. Okay, this is the...
Let it out, everybody. Let it out. Let it out, everybody. Come on. Let it out. Rust mentioned. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Rust mentioned. I know. Boo, Rust. Oh, Rust is a great language.
True modern version of C and C++.
It is not a modern version of C or C++.
Good if you want to write simple code while also handling memory issues. It's a very popular programming language, and it's used to make applications where performance is extremely important, such as game engines or operating systems. Solidity, a programming language created for the Ethereum network. Programs created in Solidity are called smart contracts. These smart contracts are later deployed to the blockchain. However, once smart contracts are deployed to the blockchain, they cannot be changed or altered again. So before a contract is deployed,
that's why you got to use the diamond pattern.
Usually developers test them thoroughly beforehand. This is done using...
You just say developers test them thoroughly. Come on. Come on. We're all developers here, okay? You know we ain't testing shit with Truffle or Hard Hat, okay?
Testing environments such as Truffle and Hard Hat, depending on the smart contract, can cost memory and even money in the form of Ethereum to work. Its main uses are for creating Web 3.0 decentralized apps.
I like the fact that they did a Solidity programming app, and then he put Solana, which uses Rust, right? Doesn't Solana use Rust? Isn't it kind of funny? Kind of funny. I don't know. Kind of funny. Kind of funny.
Decentralized finance applications, or DeFi, to even your own tokens or NFTs. The type of smart contract you'll make will depend on the ERC format you're adhering to. ERC standing for Ethereum Request for Comment. Elixir, a popular...
I was going to make another comment, but we're on to Elixir. Okay, Brazil mentioned again. We got 2 Brazils. Let's go. Let's go, Elixir. Brazil mentioned. Jose. Let's go, Jose. Oh my goodness. So good. Yes, I'm glad. I see Ryan Winchester already got a comment deleted. What did he say? Elixir, 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 Elixir. Yeah, delete that shit. Get him clean out of here. Bisco, good moves.
That was created in Brazil. It runs on the Erlang Beam virtual machine.
Erlang mentioned. Let's go. Erlang. Yeah, can't delete that one. Can you, Bisco?
You can do with Elixir the same things you can do with Erlang. The language is commonly used for telecom, e-commerce, and finance. Zig.
Is that true, Ryan Winchester? I didn't realize it was used for telecom. You've been telling me it's been used for servers this whole time. I feel lied to. By the way, we're into Zig. Let's go, Andrew Kelly. Let's go, Andrew Kelly.
Programming language intended to be the success.
Zig is the true C++ successor. I'm saying it. There you go. I said it. Zig is the truest successor to C there has, I think, ever been. You said Go was. Go is C 2.0. It's a difference, okay? It's a difference. Go's electric boogaloo of C, okay? There's a big difference between being the electric boogaloo, where Zig is just C, just nicer. It's like everything you've ever wanted in a C-like thing. Tweet it or fake take. Tweet it or fake take. Boom, I'll say that. Dude, you realize my editor, who's editing this video, just laid down the most offensive tweet to date. And you're saying that we're worried about saying that Zig is a modern C? Zig is better at a modern C than C++ or Rust. Boom, tweet that. Zig should, honestly, I think Zig should have been the one that went into Linux more than Rust. Yeah, I also just said that out loud. False. I'm just saying, it's an incredible language.
Successor of C. It was created in the mid-2010s and is slowly gaining in popularity. Microsoft PowerFX, a language created in 2021
Wait, you didn't end on Zig? You ended on Microsoft PowerFX? What the hell are you doing?
by Microsoft. It is used in a low-code program called Power Apps. A low-code program is a program that allows you to create applications with little to no code. But if you want to add extra logic or functionality to your app, it would be
Visual
done using
Basic!
PowerFX. Also, the language is based on Microsoft itself. Be sure to share this video, and thanks for
I thought Excel was Visual Basic of some sort. Okay,
watching.
Holy cow. That video had a lot of stuff in it. I actually liked that video. You know what? I liked the video. I'm going to subscribe. I thought it was a good job. Like, went over so many great languages in there. A lot I didn't know about, some that I did know about. I mean, how else do you do that many programming languages in 15 minutes? That was absolutely fantastic. Huge fan of Zig, though. I loved Zig. I love Zig. I want to do more Zig, but I unfortunately also want to be able to program things to completion, so I'm just choosing Go. You know what I mean? I'm tired of Rust. I think I've done enough Rust. I've done 2 years straight of Rust for all my side projects and all my little tools I built at Netflix and all that kind of stuff. It's time for something different. I'm going to try out Go for a year and really give it a more solid attempt as opposed to doing it for a week, completing what I was trying to build, and then never using it again because I'd rather go struggle with something else. You know what I mean? I'm actually going to do more things in Go. Hey, the name is the Go-agen, okay?